And a special guest in studio with us this morning, it is George Brown. Hi, George. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Tori.
From Ulrich, which also, and we've talked about this before, Ulrich or Ulrich. How do you say it?
Ulrich.
You like the rich at the end.
Yep.
As in, if I had a lot of money, I'd be rich.
Yes.
Then no more debate. We've got it settled. Lifestyle sheds. Lifestyle, meaning she sheds, meaning what else? I mean, the opportunities are endless at your place, right?
Very endless. I mean, from everything from man caves, she sheds, miniature horse barns, dog houses, large dog houses.
So when you say miniature horse barns, you're talking about the horse being miniature, not the barn itself.
Yes.
Got it. Those are cute, by the way.
I know.
Miniature horses are so cute. Go ahead. So we have she sheds, we have man caves, we have miniature horse sheds. What else we have?
We've got, everything for anybody who wants something. A backyard office is another one that's very popular as well.
Now, why is that? Why do you need, is it a pandemic thing where people felt like they needed to kind of get out of the house to feel like they were in an office? Where do you suppose that started from?
Yeah, I think it was the pandemic that really kicked that off. Mm-hmm. And of course, there's a lot of distractions inside the house.
Yes.
So it's better to be away from the main house and in a space that's dedicated specifically to doing whatever it is that person is doing. Also, home businesses. There's a lot of people who operate businesses from home. So they want a separate shed or office,
sure,
or combination of both to be able to operate that business.
Can you put electricity in any of these?
Yes, you can. There is a permit required, and but the answer is yes.
Okay, so we would pull the permit, or do you do that? Who does the pulling of the permit?
Generally, the electrician, if they've got an existing shed, they want to put electricity in it. They get the electrician to pull the permit. The other option a lot of folks are looking at is solar. So that does not need a permit. You can be completely self-sufficient, including air conditioning, power, 110-volt outlet, lighting, everything you need, and you're completely self-contained.
That's taking it up 10 notches. Solar, first of all, you're going to have an outdoor office space, and then you put solar on top of it, so you're self-sufficient. I mean, that's taking it to, talk about 2022. We're already in the future. What's your, out of all the options that you've mentioned, and I'm sure there's so many more, what currently, like right now, what's the run? Like, what is everybody wanting to get?
We're getting a lot of interest in playhouses because we also do kids' playhouses as well.
I would have died as a kid for a playhouse like that. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah.
What does the playhouse consist of? Because you guys are top notch. I mean, we're talking, you guys don't kid around when it comes to these. So what does a playhouse consist of?
Well, there's 3 different models, and there's 2 models have a little porch on it. And there's a little loft area inside.
A loft. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And then so there's a kid's door to get into it, but in the back is an adult-sized door also.
That's fantastic. It sounds better than my first apartment, quite honestly. So right now you're doing a run on playhouses for the kids. I know a couple of years ago it was all about the she shed. Is that what started all of this, do you think? Because man caves started, I think, East Coast, and it was kind of like really the basement for the man, the basement of the home. We don't really have basements out here. We kind of have just the foundation. And then I think, being a female, we were like, hey, what do we get? What do we get? And I think there was a run on she sheds. What's your take on that whole thing?
Yeah, there is still a lot of interest in she sheds, and there's demand for it because obviously mom wants her own space away from the house to do her craft or to just have a little hangout place for herself and her friends.
We always need, because you know what? We always need a little something for ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine? So we would have a man cave, a she shed, and the playhouse all outside. Who's using the regular house anymore? Nobody. Nobody. We're all out back. We all have our own place to go. Let's talk about cost. Is it expensive? Is it pricey? Do we put a down payment? Do we make payments like a mortgage? How does this work?
So there's many different options. Obviously, there's the ability to pay cash. We offer finance packages. We also do rent to own packages as well. So there's a range of different finance options that we have available. And so what we generally try and do is understand what the customer's needs are, what their budget is, and work around both their needs and their budget. So we try and arrive at something that's going to be that's going to meet their pocketbook and be able to put in place a finance deal that works for them as well.
Do you ever run into problems with HOAs? Having a semi-big structure or maybe too tall? Because I know with CC&Rs, there are all kinds of rules. Do you ever run into trouble with that?
Constantly.
Do you?
All the time. It's very tough, and I feel sorry for a lot of the folks who have to get HOA approval. Quite often the HOAs aren't set up to approve sheds, and really they're not. They prefer not to have sheds in the HOA. A lot of them, particularly the newer ones. The older ones are a little bit more flexible, and so we do have an HOA model shed, and we will also design a shed for the HOA to approve as well. So there's avenues open, but getting approval can be as lengthy as getting a permit to build a large shed.
Really?
Yes.
Why are they so against it? Is it the size, or what's the actual beef? What's the beef?
I really don't know. I mean, it makes good sense for HOAs to allow them in their backyard and have a space for people to put their barbecue and their bikes, rather than cluttering up their garage. Don't know. I think it's just how the nature of HOAs. They just don't see the benefit, and they obviously wanting to avoid conflict, I guess, between people within the HOA. So it's easier to say no.
Interesting. I know, because my HOA is incredibly strict. If you forget to take in your garbage cans, 3 days later you get a letter. Very, very strict. I know that you are not supposed to park on your driveway or on your street if you have a garage. You're not supposed to use it as storage. I mean, these are in the CC&Rs. So I imagine what you might be going through. But obviously you do get it settled and people are happy with the sheds finally.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we do sell them, a very few. Most of the people who come in from HOA, I do ask them for their HOA requirements or guidelines, and generally I never see them again, because either it's too difficult to get or they just are not able to get that information.
Interesting. We're talking with George Brown from Ulrich Barns, Lifestyle Barns. Before we leave, I just want to ask a question. What's the craziest request you've ever gotten for a shed? The craziest, something personalized, or what do you got?
It was a shed specifically built for 5 cane Corso dogs, which are very, very large dogs. And it had to be a specific design that the owner then put in air conditioning, insulation, a television set.
Wait a minute. A television. Didn't you just say it was for 5 dogs?
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty. This is what I asked. Listen, I asked for the craziest shed and I'm getting it. I asked for it and now you've supplied that. George, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Where are you located? Can we come visit you? Do we call you? What do you prefer? If we're interested in a lifestyle shed or barn, how do we get in touch with you?
Look, the best thing is to come around to our store, to our showroom. We've got 30 examples there of what we do. They're just display models, and that is the best option, is to come and see it for yourself. It's far better than trying to describe something over the phone.
Absolutely. Where are you located?
So we're located directly behind Denny's, Sand Canyon 14 Freeway.
Fantastic. I know where Denny's is.
Yeah.
Now I know where you are.
Yeah.
George, thank you. Always a pleasure. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.